You're listening to Your Purpose and Business podcast, where we connect you to possibilities. I'm your host, Raquel Walters, a two-time best-selling author, millennial speaker, corporate trainer, advocate, and clinical social worker at heart. Your Purpose and Business podcast will connect you with everyday successful people who will share their impactful stories, insights, challenges, failures, and triumphs on how they're navigating the working world, whether by climbing the 9-to-5 corporate ladder or starting, growing, and scaling their business. So grab your pen and notebook because you'll want to implement the nuggets and tools, strategies shared in every episode. Class is in session. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Your Purpose and Business podcast. I have the pleasure of having Dr. Sidjae Price here with me. Just to tell you a little bit more about her, jumping right in, she is a best-selling author, speaker, and entrepreneur. Individuals and organizations have been awed by her ability to deliver academic and professional knowledge with a millennial spin. Dr. Price leaves her audience with actionable steps ready for implementation through what she calls her Priceless Plan. She's the CEO of Priceless Planning, a business operations consulting agency, and founder of Speak Loud Inc., a youth-based nonprofit organization. She's also a qualitative researcher who is passionate about organizational conflict. Her research has explored the management of organizational conflict regarding leadership and the change management for Generation X and millennial entrepreneurs. Being the first to establish insights for organizational stakeholders, her passion projects is that she creates book series, I should say, by helping others get published, and is also the co-author of 20 Beautiful Women and the publisher of Faith Forward, Intimate Stories of Faith to Propel You Forward, which are both Amazon bestsellers, and an academic textbook on qualitative research branch of ethnography. Dr. Sidjae Price has been featured on platforms such as Huffington Post and 103.5, The Beats Miami's home for the Breakfast Club, and has given speeches at the University of Miami and Fort Lauderdale's Women Empowerment Expo. Additionally, she has collaborated with brands such as Rolling Out Magazine and negotiated deals with members of MTV Network. And she's also a proud alumnus of Jamaican preparatory and high schools. She's ready to serve the country that raised her through the creation of Rise and Shine Jamaica Expo that will be having this event or expo in January of 2020. So, Dr. Price, it's a pleasure and it's an honor to have you tonight on this podcast. And wow, your bio is so filled with a lot of accomplishments, a lot of accolades, and just putting that to the side, I always ask all of my my interviewees, like, tell us something that we probably wouldn't know about you that is probably not even said in the bio. What would you say?
That I have to have 8 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's important. And then with a bio like this, the question is, and let me say it because I know people are thinking, when do you sleep?
I sleep, and I have to have my sleep, or else I will get really grumpy and I feel like my brain does not work.
Uh-huh.
My family and friends make fun of me about this, but I really have to get at least 7 hours, but I have to have an ample amount of sleep.
That's
Yeah,
great.
my brain doesn't work otherwise.
No, that's awesome. And I would also like to add that listen, this speaks to your time management ability to get the task done and to achieve your goals. So that's very impressive, very, very impressive.
Thank
And
you.
so let's jump right in. I mean, you're on a podcast that's called Your Purpose and Business Podcast. I know you are a entrepreneur, you are a professor, you have your hands in so many things, but the core of this all, what I find is education, an educational piece to all of this. And this passion of empowering others and helping them along their way, whether that be in their life or business. And so, with that being said, what do you think your purpose is in this world?
I believe firmly that my purpose is to take my talents and gifts and help other people in the world. So I look at it that right now I'm very knowledgeable on publishing. So that's one of, that's a part of my purpose. I'm versatile as in far as in like nonprofits or business. So that's also my purpose as well. So literally taking my talents and gifts and serving others with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
No, I absolutely love that. And I see that, you not only tap into, the educational industry, I will just use that word industry, but you're also mentoring too through your nonprofit as well. You want to speak a little bit about that?
Sure, yes. So I call them my babies. I know they're not my babies, but
Uh-huh.
I tell their parents that I rent them from them. So we have teen entrepreneurs, or even just the ones who want to go to college that either myself or other people from the board we mentor. So we have one of our first persons, a young lady that's going to be graduating 2020. She's been with us since she's been 13 years old. And that was been our first person. And so she's one of the first, I guess, mentors to kind of give birth to in a way. And just to watch her do phenomenal things, get into the colleges that she wants to, run her business while she's in high school, all those things, get good grades, doesn't get into any trouble. It's really amazing. So
Mm-hmm.
that's some of the things that I do for mentoring. And then I know that come next summer, summer 2020, I will be getting a new bunch of teens that will be sitting down and going over with college stuff,
Mm-hmm. So
college
that's
planning.
what, and I know that you're also a publisher as well, because I'm a part of your first series of book, Faith Forward, which is amazing, and it has touched and is touching so many lives. And so the question is what has led you to be on this path? Because I feel like your life is so colorful, in terms of, when I say colorful, like in a vibrant way, because you're
Yes.
touching people's lives in different ways through different methods. And
Mhm.
so, not only out of curiosity for me, but I'm pretty sure the listeners as well would like to get some insight on, what has led you to on this journey, so to speak, if you want to speak to that.
So I definitely like how you describe it as colorful. I never viewed it in that way, but you're absolutely right. And as far as in the journey, honestly, I can't say that like, oh, it's something that I've always dreamed of doing. Like publishing was never anything that I dreamed of doing. Writing my own book has been something that I've dreamed of doing. But I have a very strong spiritual background and believing in God. And that has definitely aligned me with different opportunities that has created just opportunities that has taught me how to publish with mentors for myself. And they have taught me, and then just seeing just this from I literally went from author, curious about how to get published, wanting to learn it for myself, deciding to help one person, seeing how their life changed, and then now I literally have like people booked up in publishing.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I realized that it was a talent of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and I just tapped into it really after learning how to do it. And naturally from going to school, you naturally learn how to write and how to edit and stuff like that. So those things come naturally to me, and I never really put it into the category of publishing. And then, the only way for me to connect that is saying that God connected it. There's no other way. I'm not trying to preach. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
perfect. Not trying to push any religious belief on anyone, but that's the only way for me to explain how I got
Yeah.
into that. Yeah.
And for listeners who are listening, in terms of whether it is that they're working in a job and they're trying to up level in that position, get a promotion, get a better job, better position, or if it's that they want to branch out and do something, create maybe a nonprofit like you have, or even starting a business for themselves, or a side income, and not really sure of how it is or what path they should take, and not really sure what to do per se. What advice would you lend to them? How would you assist somebody to gain more clarity in seeking out ideas or things out of curiosity that they may have? Because it sounds like, and I know things didn't just fall into your lap, it was an interest that you had, and then you went out and you tried it, and then you realized that you have a knack for it, you know what I mean? So I think speak to that. Like, if somebody were to come up to you now and say, Dr. Price, I have all these ideas and I have all these interests, but I'm not really sure what to do, what would you say to them?
I would say to choose one of the interests and go with that. Here's why. Because when I started off everything, I didn't expect for me to end up with so many different ventures and down so many different avenues. My original interest was in nonprofit, and it still is, because I believe firmly in social justice, helping the youth, things like that. So while I used to actually work for the sheriff's department of my county, and which is so weird, I was working in a jail. Nobody ever believes that I was working in a jail, but
Yeah.
I was in a jail for the sheriff's county.
Yeah.
And after seeing the kids come in, and I decided, okay, how can I take this issue and fix it? So working there kind of and having that interest sparked the nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, that's how I developed, because it's literally I literally took the funds from my 9 to 5, not all of it, but, we'll budget out my paychecks accordingly, taking that and then to fund different stuff for the nonprofit. And that's how I got started with the first one. So it's literally taking an interest, figuring it out, make it work, and then you move on. So I believe that it's okay to be multi-passionate. It's okay to have different interests, but you can't necessarily work on all of them at the same time, especially when you're just starting out.
Mm-hmm.
So choose one, stick with it, see how it works, and then go from there.
Yeah, so it's a matter of what we call trial and error, but having the faith and the confidence to take the action. So I love that example. And I love that, when you're in a certain space, the awareness, okay, I see these things happening, whether it's be injustice in your case, from working in the prison system, and then your non-profit being birthed out of that, to assist these youths. So
Mm-hmm.
so that is good. Tell us, Dr. Price, about some of the challenges and failures that you have faced in starting up your business, growing your business. What key failures or challenges have you faced that you want to share with us?
Sure. I'm glad that you mentioned challenges and failures, because I think, especially in my life, individuals look at me or may look at my Instagram page and everything like that and may say, oh, nothing goes wrong. And they have no clue that things are going wrong. I won't say all the time, but a lot of times things are going wrong. It's just learning to grace through them. So some of the challenges and failures that I would say that I've had is, at first, not asking for help soon enough. That was a big thing for me, especially in trying to juggle everything and then realizing how, overwhelmed that I may feel. That's definitely something. And then also getting too much help can also be a downfall, because then you're stretching your financial budget within your business so thin because you think you need such a big team and maybe you're not ready for it as yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say the challenge would have been finding that middle ground. That was definitely a big lesson for me recently. And then also the biggest one has been, I would say that I felt like for 2019, I was challenged in taking care of myself and realizing, okay, you're doing all of this and you think you're practicing the best self-care, but you're really not.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big wake-up call for me this year, in realizing to think that just taking the weekends off was enough, when it wasn't enough for my body and based on what I was doing. So finding that comfort sweet spot as far as in practicing self-care. So now my self-care went from, just weekends off and sleeping, to making sure that I exercise, making sure that I drink enough water, making sure I take my time out to read my Bible, to pray. And it helps me to manage stress, to manage stress, and just really, and I know there's, balance is hard, but it helps me to take care of myself so I can better help others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I agree with you. You said two things there. The first thing, actually you spoke about starting small, and knowing also when to grow, when to ask for help, and also knowing when not to ask for too much help, in terms of if you're at a place in your business where you don't want to overextend the budget, as far as hiring enough people. So I think that's a good point to tell the audience. If you're looking to start a business, start small. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously, when you're first starting out, you're gonna be that one person doing all the things,
Mhm.
but then eventually, of course, then you want to start outsourcing. That's another word for just hiring some help, or even getting help from family and friends, or somebody who's willing to do that.
Yes.
That's important. And also knowing your numbers too. Numbers is important. um and then the second thing, as entrepreneurs, we know that we're working constantly over time,
Mhm.
because we're doing all the things. And even if you have help, you're still the visionary of the business, you're the head. So you're still, not only delegating, but you're also doing the work itself. So
Mhm.
self-care is a good awareness, and it's good to practice. And we can't say that we're always gonna do it, because I know for me, from my point of view, I don't always practice self-care, but I've also learned that I need to slow things down, and also invest back into my health. So that's two powerful things to share with us, and that will help us in terms of growing this business. Or even if you don't have a business, just surviving or thriving, I should say, in your workspace, in your company that you work for. um,
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah,
Because
so you can be around.
life is stressful on a whole, like you said,
Mhm.
and whether it's you're working a 9 to 5, or you have your own business, or you're juggling both, you need help from
Mhm.
team members, contractors, however you want to classify it. And you still need to take care of yourself,
Right.
because, life, you can get hit from any angle of anything, whether it's business stress, family stress, personal stress. Is just things happen. That's
Right.
inevitable.
Right.
Unfortunately, we can't avoid it.
Right.
But yeah, those two, I didn't even, yeah, those two would definitely be keys on, I would say, learning. At least that's what I've learned a lot over this past year.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say to someone in the business aspect who wants to start a business, or they have started a business, and they're seeing that probably things aren't working out, or the expectation that they expected from a product or from a service, it just didn't work out. When it comes on to like confidence building, and working on disappointment, how have you managed that? Because I know that as entrepreneurs, we have up days, we have down days. What technique or what tools, if you have any, that you could share, or mindset things that you do to get yourself back into a state where you can focus, and pretty much continue to go after your goal.
So I would definitely say that, for you should definitely have someone in your corner that will help you think things through clearly. That way you're not just jumping to give up, or you're not continuing to push a product or service that's not working.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's having my sister, because I feel like she is the most, I think she knows what my mind is thinking. So she helps me to realize, okay, this product or service is not working. Stop being crazy. Take it away, or try this, or don't do this. So kind of my thinking partner, as
Mm-hmm.
I call it. So having someone, for some people it may be a family member, for some people it may be a coach, it may be a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
But I think definitely you need to have one person, I wouldn't say too many people, but at least one that can help you think clearly. And I think that's natural. I actually heard a celebrity, I don't know which one, but some celebrity said like when they were writing their book, their spouse helped them every
Mm-hmm.
night. They would sit in bed and they would read it off to them. Or I think even another celebrity just said that when she records her music, she plays it for her husband. And even though he's not a musician, he
Mm-hmm.
tells her, it sounds good or doesn't sound good. So the point is you need that one person, and you have
Yeah.
to find a person to help you and figure out, okay, do we push past this failure? Do we just let it go?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go from there. But I've definitely had my set of failures with products or services that I may have thought would have worked and it not being received from the audience how I thought it could work.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that you quit and give up. If that's the case, I should have given up many times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know so you'll definitely have, everything just won't work, and it's just a part of life, just like how a singer releases a song and not every song hits it to number one. you
Exactly.
know
Mm-hmm.
so you will release stuff that just don't work, and it's okay to fail.
Mm-hmm.
That way you can figure out what works and what doesn't work. For me this year, the biggest thing in trying to navigate was feeling like my Instagram page for my business wasn't working. So my prices planning page wasn't working. And that's just how I felt. So my choice was go silent on that page for 2019 and see how business does. And that's what I've been evaluating to figure out, do I really need to have my business page in order to land certain clientele or certain opportunities that I'm looking for? Now, for everyone, it completely differs. But for me, that's something that I felt like I was failing in.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to look at to make sure that you're spending money and seeing your profits. Because if you're spending money on having, let's say, someone run your social media page and you're not seeing a great profit, then why are you still spending money on it?
Right. Mm-hmm.
As and it varies, because I've seen individuals with literally 100, like I know people right now with that's not posting on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, and they have corporate contracts with LinkedIn, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And
Mm-hmm.
then I know people that have the 100K and also have those contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the things you have to evaluate based on your business and see what works. But don't believe that what works for John is going to work for you, because it may
Right.
not work.
Right.
Yeah.
I really agree with that. And the reason why I asked you that question before is because, as you know, we live in this microwave society where especially young and upcoming entrepreneurs, they think that, okay, I'm an entrepreneur now and I'm going to put out this product or this service and it's going to be a hit. And I like the reference that you use about look at musicians or singers, they make thousands of songs, hundreds of songs, and not everyone get released, not everyone makes the album, or not everyone becomes a hit, and some of them are in like a storage, like nobody ever heard of it before. So it's like, not giving up, always putting your best foot forward, and just improving your craft as you go along, and testing out things and asking for feedback. And the other thing is having someone to support you who is also an objective person. And I know you said your sister is that person in your life for you. So that is very great. If you could give us 3 keys or strategies, so to speak, on some other things that you have used to support you on your business and life path, what would they be?
One of my favorite things is I have like a little, it's literally when I just started, well, when I was creating my consulting agency, the coach I was working with, she gave me a little book, and it said my little book of big ideas,
Ah,
because
mhm.
I have a lot of ideas, as entrepreneurs, visionaries, we have those ideas. So something that has supported me is that book, where I may go through a month where I have tons of ideas and I've learned to write them down. I may go through a month where I have no ideas. And I've learned to go pick up that book and look what it is so I can figure out, okay, what is something creative I can come up with next, you know? So even one of the books that I'm now working on, Stereotypes of the Black Male Misunderstood, that's supposed to be released in 2020 with a group of men, that book was literally written down since 2014.
Wow.
But I didn't know that I would be publishing.
Yeah.
And that also plays into the whole manifestation thing, you know?
Right.
It is crazy to me because like, and I know it's like, someone may be listening and be like, yeah, right. Did you really, you know? But it's true. Like I really wrote that down because like I was upset at someone and I was like, I'm going to show you that I can do my own business and da, da, da. So I wrote down all these ideas, including that book.
Wow, look at that.
Not knowing how the book was going to be written, not having any clue I would be an author or a publisher. Then I learned to become a publisher and how to do it. And then I was able to go back to my little book and pull out ideas for books that I had. So it's really crazy how everything works out. But the book, yeah, having something to write down all of your ideas, because you will realize that you can't release all ideas at one time. And it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be released. You just have to figure out when it is ready to be released.
Right. I love it. No, and you know, writing things down, you know, all the greats have spoken about. It's just something magical happens when you write things down, and it doesn't mean that it will ever come to fruition or manifestation, but you know, getting your thoughts on paper and you know, your book, upcoming book, Stereotypes of a Black Male,
Stereotypes of Black Males Misunderstood.
Yeah,
So
I love it.
Thank you. Long story short, it's different men that's coming together, writing their stories about how they've been stereotyped, or you know, us combating all of those things. So that's what it's really about.
Yeah.
You know, and a next strategy that I would definitely say that has helped me on my path is learning to not listen to what anyone says as far as in negativity. Because you may have the idea. Let's say I had the idea for that book and someone said, oh no, you're doing too much right now, don't do books. You know, I would never done it. And yes, people may think, oh my God, she's crazy for doing so much. But these are things that fill me up. So really, I like to say, Olivia Poping it and following your gut on certain situations.
Yeah.
So following what's in your heart, and even when no one understands it, you follow your heart. Some of the greatest people, no one understands Einstein.
Right.
You know? Right. So you just have to follow what's in your heart and your gut, even if it's outside of the norm. So yeah, write stuff down, follow your gut, and the last thing that I would say is pray.
Yeah.
Person, I have to pray. And you know, those pray with those words of affirmation, however it is, whatever religion. I believe that our faith is universal. So whether you're praying to Allah, Jah, I don't care. You need to pray.
Right.
You gotta believe in something.
Right. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I can find that. Yes. Yeah. So those are our three you know, great strategies for our audience to use in their everyday life and business as well. And also I wanted to add what advice or action step you think that you can share with us with regards to trying, you know, staying on focus? Because again, we live in a society when there's multiple distractions, you know, there's so many things going on, you know, and sometimes it's hard to keep focus on our goals. What would you say, or what has worked for you, I should say, in keeping you on track?
As far as in goals, I would say in having a yearly plan on what goals I need to attain, and then kind of breaking that down into either a project base, so whether it's monthly or quarterly or something like that. And that helps me in managing my goals and honestly, like having it mapped out in front of me. So like in my office over my desk, I have like something on the wall that reminds me of all the projects that I'm focusing on for this year, so that way I know I'm not going left wing and go pick up new projects, but I know what I'm focusing on because this is what I believe I should be focused on right now. And then also, I am a big Asana user.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm in love with their product, but having, even if you don't use that, have something that helps you to create actionable tasks that you need to be doing every day.
Yeah.
Every day, or at least during your work hours. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And guys, Asana is a project management app. For those who are not familiar, you can also find it in the Google or Play Store. I feel like I'm advertising for them, but I've used Asana, so I can attest to it. It just helps to keep you organized and focused. And so, Dr. Price, tell us a little bit more about your business. If somebody wanted to reach out to you in the different businesses that you run, if you don't mind quickly going through the different businesses that you have. I know you have consulting business. You also are a publisher. You also have your nonprofit. And there's other things that probably I don't know of, but please, share with us, the different ways people can work with you.
Sure, definitely. So the different ways that people can work with me is one, I have a nonprofit, Speak Out Incorporated. We are always looking for new mentors, new projects. We're willing to collab, board members, donors. We're always looking for all of those things. If you want to host a workshop under my nonprofit for the kids, that's fine. That's like, we're open to collaborations. So that's one. The second way is Prices Planning, which is my consulting business. And there I work with you or your company on corporate trainings, workshops. That's really what I do. Go into those presenting operational business strategies and stuff like that. And then I also publish as well under Sidjae Price. So if you're looking to create a book, whether you want to do it yourself or you want to become a co-author, either one of those could work. So that is that. And there's another business that I have, but I don't really talk about it. I want to talk about it. Nothing crazy, guys, but I do that because I have my reasons, but
yeah,
I like to say there's many people that we invest in things, or at least I'm learning many people invest into a lot of things, but they don't normally mention it off. So I would say I have a few investments that I do as well overseas in Jamaica. So
yeah.
that's that. And those are the ways, but the easiest way is if you go to sidjaeprice.com, you'll see everything on how to reach me and all that good stuff.
I love it. I love it. And in closing, is there a mantra or an affirmation or a saying or a scripture that you tend to lean to each day for guidance, for to refresh you, to uplift you? Is there anything of that nature in your life?
Yes. So every year I pick a new scripture. I started this in 2018. So in 2018, it was Jeremiah 29:11. And then this year 2018, it was Jeremiah 29:11. Believe something about plans and God having plans for you. Sorry, for all the plans.
Or I know the plans, yes, I have for you, says the Lord, yes.
And for 2019, it has been Romans 8:28, that all things work together for those who love God. That's for my scripture for 2019. And I think for 2020, I think I am going to lean on the scripture of Deuteronomy 31:6 about being courageous. I think that's going to be my scripture for 2020. So I know I just dropped like a whole Bible. My pastor would be so proud of me right now.
And I actually wrote down the last two that you gave because I'm not too sure what they are. So I'll be doing some research myself.
My pastor would be so proud of me.
And in closing, Dr. Price, is there anything that you want to leave the audience with? I feel like there's so many gems that you have dropped throughout, useful gems, I should say, that you have dropped throughout this interview. Is there anything that you want to leave us with?
I would say is that go after what lights you up. Like if, and whether it's a 9 to 5 or whether it is having a business, go after what lights you up. The key thing is to make sure that you're fulfilling your purpose. Your purpose could be behind the desk, or your purpose could be in having a business. Do not believe in the world of entrepreneur that we're all called to be entrepreneurs. It is not easy on this side of the street. It's not easy, people. So
Yeah.
that would be my last bit of advice.
Awesome. So it's been a pleasure interviewing you, and I can't wait to share your amazing life story and business successes with the world. And we will be adding your links to our show notes. And if you're curious to learn more, or to connect and to collaborate and to hire Dr. Price, definitely go to her website. What's your website again?
SidjaePrice.com.
And your Instagram
is at Dr. Sidjae Price.
Awesome. So guys, as always, be good to yourself, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye for now. Thank you for listening. If you've loved this episode, let's stay in touch. Head over to RaquelWalters.com and subscribe to my email list so that I can send you updates on new episodes, exclusive motivational nuggets, and insider knowledge that's only shared when you join our community. Please don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and leave a review, as I want to know your thoughts about every episode. Follow me on Instagram at Your Purpose and Business Podcast. And remember, your life is beautiful, and this is a part of your journey. So embrace it. Speak to you soon.